Alright, here's another episode of Mike Does Dumb Things. Today we have a hand-me-down air compressor, 26 gallon, 125 psi, husky, and such. So the control mechanism is all, you know, so and also it's been sitting outside. Well, it was sitting outside for a number of years before I got it. I opened the little drain valve in the bottom and there was some water in there. So before I fill this up, I want to do a hydro pressure test. So what I've done is I've bypassed the super safe right here, right? I bypassed the control system, so I have this on a switch inside inside the house, which is way over there. And I ran this briefly up to about 20 psi. It seems to be holding pressure and it works fine. Doesn't make any horrible noises. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back off and I'm going to fill this tank with water. And then try it again. Then I'm going to run it up in probably 20 psi increments. But what that's going to do is water doesn't hold near as much energy as air does when you compress it. It compresses it just a tiny bit. So if this tank were to rupture with water in it, there would be a lot less energy exploding out of the tank than if I just did a pressure test and see if it blows up. So that's the plan. But before I put 26 gallons of water in this thing, I wanted to make sure that it was actually going to run. And you know what else? These wheels were added, well, they're not the original wheels, and they're all bendy, which makes the tank kind of lopsided. So I'm going to put a support under that just to make sure, because it's going to get a lot heavier with air in it, or sorry, with water in it. So, but yeah, belt's nice, considering. I have a cover. I'm not sure what I did with it. I gotta go find it. Like I said, I've had this in my stash for 2 years, and I'm just not getting around to it. So the next step is to, support that a little bit better, and then start filling it with water, and then see what happens. Oh, I'm going to unplug it while I fill it with water, just to be on the safe side. Like I said, it's on a switch, but yeah, better to be safe. This is a replacement regulator, and it looks like it's in good shape. It looks a lot newer than the rest of it, so I'm hoping I can reuse that, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to get a new power controller on-off switch. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Alright, filling it with water did not take as long as I thought. And speaking of things not taking as long as I thought, I was going to turn this up to maybe 20 or so psi on the first run, but I only ran it for like 10 seconds and it's already at 110 psi. So that pressurized a lot faster than I anticipated. I mean, I figured it would pressurize faster, but holy crap. So went around, whacked it with a mallet. Didn't cause any cracks. I'm going to let that sit for a while, and then I'm going to bump it up. I guess I'll just run it for a couple of seconds at a time and see where we get. I do have a 200 psi relief valve, pressure relief valve here. My intention is to test it at closer to 165, but yeah, that's what they tested it at, 165. So I definitely want to go above 125 because that's the operating maximum pressure of this guy. So I want to make sure that he'll hold more than that. Okay, I think it should be about, okay, it's maxed out the gauge, so it's at least 160 psi or higher. And to tell you the truth, I'm starting to freak out a little bit. I know it doesn't really sound like it, but I'm freaking on the inside, man. So I think this is as pressurized as I'm going to do. 160, 165, I think is about what it is now. Best guess between, you know, it's at least 160. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug that. I'm going to let it sit. And then I'm going to come out and pull the I was going to say pull the pin on it, but that sounds ominous. Just I'm just going to open this little valve. Okay, it has been an hour, and what do we got? We got 150 psi. So that's interesting. But yeah, no explosions. So I guess there's like a really, really slow leak somewhere. Not sure where, because I don't know. I mean, does it, I mean, it almost doesn't even matter, because how fast this filled up with water versus air, I would imagine that almost nothing would happen after an hour with just air in it. So, and yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this tank has just passed its pressure test. So I'm gonna go get a thing and pull on that, release the pressure, and then I don't know, figure out how to dump this thing. I think it weighs about 6,000 pounds with water in it. So anyway, oh, well, my cat wants something, so I will be back in a minute. Well, I meant to get that on camera, but while I was fiddling with putting something on this ring, I had intended to pull on it from a distance. But yeah, while I was fiddling with it, it let go and dropped all the way down to like 80 psi. So I just let it go the rest of the way, and of course it squirted water everywhere. But there we go. That was probably the most dangerous part of this entire project here, and it's over with. So now I just got to figure out how to get the water out. So there was just barely enough room to get that plug out underneath. So it turns out I really didn't have to worry so much as I thought. So what do I have? I have a couple of things here for the. I bought one of these to extend the oil drain. That was an idea I saw on YouTube. I bought this as a thread sealer, highly recommended by Road King, who has a very high success rate with stuff that he does, so, you know, kind of trust his judgment. What else? So it's interesting, I looked all over the place to find a 5/8 to 1/4 inch reducer, and heck, I looked all over town, they didn't have one. I've been looking on the internet, and they don't have one. Nobody makes a 5/8 to 1/4 inch reducer. Isn't that weird? So the previous owner put this guy together, and I thought, that's a lot of places that it could leak, but you know what? this thing stood up to the 160 plus psi, so I'm not going to worry about it, especially because I can't find a replacement for that. Let's see, this is the shutoff switch, or whatever you call it, the power thing, power on-off thing. So we've got some overheating here, and we've got a lot of physical kind of looking wear over here, and then of course the cover's missing, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace this whole unit. Oh, I can put my borescope in here and check out the interior. Cool. I had a borescope before, and it was so terrible it broke after not very long. But anyway, I'll get the oil changed. Oh yeah, I'll buy some oil. I'll take a look at I'll need to take a look at this. Might be able to do that now, huh? Oh wow, look at how clean that is. Oh, that's on the inside. Let's okay. Yeah, look at how clean that is on the inside. Okay, it needs to be replaced. Dummy. Well, okay, it's the next day, and it's much cooler and a little bit breezy. I hope that doesn't interfere with the audio, but I got the cowl off, and I got that pulley off. I'm going to need to buy a three jaw wheel puller for this guy, because nothing I have will fit on it. So that's, I mean, yeah, everything I can think of to jury rig that puts pressure on the fins instead of the central beefy part here, and that just screams don't do it to me. So if I break this, it'll be a lot more expensive, I'm sure, than a wheel puller. So I'm gonna go to the hardware or the auto parts store and see if I can find a wheel puller. I looked at this and found out you have to buy the entire air cleaner assembly, not just the filter inside, which seems like an awful waste to me. I did find one filter cartridge that was more than twice the price of an entire assembly, so that just sounded dumb. So I'll end up buying one of those. Got the oil ordered. I got the electrical control switch ordered. Oh, and I'll probably buy a new belt at some point. It looks okay from a distance, but you get up close and you start seeing little cracks, you know? I haven't decided what to do. I'm thinking, as far as these wheels go, I'm thinking about, once I'm done moving this thing around, maybe I already told you this, but I'm thinking of just building a platform to set this on that gives me access to the drain plug and also make sure that there's no weight on it. Well, I was defeated by the local stores. Nobody had a three-wheel puller. So I'm going to go ahead and just wait to do that another time. But for now, I can board my tank. Well, I have a string of LEDs hooked up to a 12-volt power supply, because I figured it'd be awfully nice to just light up that whole thing. And then I got my little borescope camera. So I'm going to see what I can see here. Let's just give it a quick. Yeah, it's kind of neat, isn't it? I don't know if that shows up on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and do some recordings, and that will show up. I'll put that in the editor directly. So anyway.